Hey, Twisted listeners. I'm Cindy,
And I'm Diva
and this is Twisted Listers, a podcast about murder.
and Liz.
And this is a new one. We're a little bit late this week. Guys, we're doing the best we can. Life is crazy. Life is busy.
It
We're
is.
we're, we're high-powered women and high power. I can't even say that. Um,
No,
we both work too much, and
boss, bitch, or what is it? Like girl boss, gatekeep,
no,
something.
ugh, I don't want any of that energy. I want like
No,
lay in bed energy, enjoy the day,
no.
sit in my yard with my ducks energy. Uh,
Mm,
Anyway, this is a new topic. Well, it's a repeat, but it's we're gonna repeat topics, y'all, because like some of them are real good and some of them have like 100 cases, all of which are
yeah.
interesting. This is people who are murdered on their first date. And I'm telling you right now, I'm already playing fast and loose with that definition with my first story, but
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting and I want to talk about like, you know, kind of the situation. So I'm excited to discuss. What's new? Anything we want to talk about? Anything new or exciting or different?
Mm, I don't know. Started a job. I'm excited about that. And
Yeah,
I'm,
Diva got a new job, new house.
yeah, still tired. Um, still caffeinating. Um, Yeah, I don't know. We're boring, I guess. We just work a
Yeah,
lot, both of us.
yeah. I got nothing, just working baseball. If anybody wants to know the intricate details of 8U baseball, I'm your
Mm,
person. Otherwise, I got nothing. We're just working, living. I don't know.
yeah, babying over here.
Baby and kidding. My kid just turned 9, which was fucking insane, like
That's
a week and a half ago.
crazy. Almost double digits.
Almost double digits, and he's like become a really cool kid now. Like I feel like between 7 and 8 was like rough, like really rough. I was
Growing
like, who the fuck
pains.
is this person? Yeah, he'd never thrown a tantrum in his life, and then he started to, and I was like, this isn't this isn't
He's going
normal. Like this
growing
isn't.
pains. Sometimes I think their brains are developing and they're like, what's
Yeah.
happening to me?
No,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure. It was just
yeah,
really
yeah.
weird. But now he's back to being like sassy but cool, and I love that.
Hopefully
So,
you have a few more years of that before like adolescence strikes.
there are days when I wish he would like leave me alone. So part of me is like, yes, can't wait for the broody teenage years. And then part of me is like, I know I'm gonna be sad when he's like, fuck off, mom. I don't want to touch you. Like no hugs for you.
Yeah, that is sad.
But
Hopefully
anyway,
not that bad.
yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully, hopefully. Anyway, so should we get into it? Let's get into our
Yeah.
cases. All right.
Let's do it. Mine
I
is tremendously upsetting, so I think I'm going
Oh,
first,
you are going
right?
for it. I was gonna say you're going
Yeah,
first, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah. Mine's very upsetting.
Oh, great.
And it's very current news. I did one of these a
Oh,
current news topic last week, so I'm continuing with that
hmm.
trend. When I
Yeah.
did, yeah, Lake and Riley was my current news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is the case of Sade Robinson. Have you seen this like in the news at all?
I have not.
Okay.
I don't news very
In the true
much.
crime news. Well,
Mm,
sometimes you send me a true crime news story once in a while, so
that's true. I do. I just don't do it as much as I used to because I'm
you,
just
you
busy
browse.
and yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, you scroll once
I
in a while,
scroll here
perhaps.
and there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, so Sade is a 19-year-old girl originally from Mississippi who lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She worked at a pizza restaurant named Pizza Shuttle,
Pizza
but she was
shuttle.
just, I love that, but she was just working there. That was not her,
Mhm.
career goal, surprisingly.
Yeah.
That was just where she worked while she was also going to school. She went to the Milwaukee Area Technical College where she was just about to graduate with her associate's degree in criminal justice, which is
Okay.
awesome. Yeah, so she
Mm-hmm.
was a true crime person, probably too, like us. And she wanted to graduate, or she wanted to, after graduation, pursue a career in that field. So who knows what she would have become or further studies she would have done.
Okay.
Surprise! Spoiler
Mm-hmm.
alert. uh, um, So her coworkers at Pizza Shuttle all loved her and have come out and described how outgoing and delightful a person she was. This is what everyone says about her, so it's not out of the. It's what everyone says. She's the best. They said she
Right.
would lighten the. They said she would lighten the mood whenever she was there. You know, it's like, so you're really lucky if you got your shift with Sade at Pizza Shuttle, because she would be like a good time.
And she goes by Sade? It's not Sade.
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 Oh, well,
Is it
I'm saying Sade. Well, Sade is like the singer. Do you think it's always pronounced Sade when it's Sade?
I don't know. I that's the only time I've ever seen it is like Sade instead of
I
Sade.
feel
But
like
I don't
Sade was.
know.
I always felt like Sade was like a one-off thing. Like, there's no other Sades out there in the universe, just the
Right.
one.
I don't know.
Um, that's a good question. Okay, well, I'm sorry if it is Sade, but I'm just gonna say Sade. Um, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
It is Sade.
Um,
Sorry, I just listened to a video. It's Sade.
really?
Sade.
Oh, okay,
Thank God
okay,
my dad was a
Sade.
Sade fan, or I would have never caught that.
Okay, well, never mind. I'll say it correct. Apologies. Thank you
Yeah.
for your Sade
Y-
fandom.
Yeah,
Um,
yes. You're very welcome. Okay, and
okay,
where what
well,
sorry, where was this? This was in
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Go on. Go on.
Yes. So her coworkers, Sade's coworkers, loved her, and like I said, da 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 da. Okay.
Hmm.
So on this particular night, this is April 1st.
Okay.
Um, so not that long ago.
Very recent.
Yeah. She was set to go on a date, and I believe it was through some kind of dating app. So we are quickly able to figure out whom that date was with.
Whomst.
And it was,
Whomst.
yeah, it was with 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson.
Hmm.
And they were set to go to a seafood restaurant that she liked. So we have their kind of
Okay.
chat conversation, arranging the date and
Hmm.
preserved in the cybersphere. But
Okay.
Sade did not come to work the next day at Pizza Shuttle on April 2nd, and her coworkers were
Uh-oh.
suspicious right away, because she would
Yeah.
never not show up for work. I know that's a true crime cliche, but obviously when it's true, it's true. Like, she would
No,
not do
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
So they call the police actually pretty quickly, and they go to her apartment for a wellness check to see, and they cannot find her.
Ugh. Yeah.
And like, because of the aforementioned, dating app trail, they pretty quickly find Maxwell Anderson as the guy who was going to be her date.
Right.
And they, okay, well, I wrote this a little bit out of order. So let me talk about the evidence that comes to light, and then
Okay.
I'll talk about Max. Um, uh, so the day after her disappearance, like, or the morning after, right? Because she disappears at this night after this night date.
Yeah.
Um, the morning of the second, her 2020 Civic was found engulfed in flames.
Okay. Not a good sign.
Very much not a good sign. The damage to the car is very extreme, obviously. But it's not
Hmm.
like, a little bit was doused in flames. The whole thing was like charred.
Right.
Um, and amidst the car debris, though, they did actually discern and find the outfit that Sade was wearing out the date on that date that night, that she was seen wearing. They also find part of her phone, so they know her personal belongings were in the car.
Hmm.
And then later that day on the second, a human leg is discovered in the
Oh
Warnemont Park
no.
beach, yeah, in the suburb of Cudahy. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. I'm
Kudehi? I
positive.
think that's right.
Cudahy. Okay.
That's what it is in
They
California anyway.
okay. Police could tell that the leg had been quote unquote sawed from like the
Ugh.
hip point down. Yeah. And it apparently matched Sade's description because it belonged to a black woman who was approximately 5 feet tall, which is about how tall she was.
Damn.
And it's later officially confirmed genetically or forensically rather to belong to her. So
Okay.
they find her leg. They find her leg.
Hmm.
A few days later, on April 6th, more remains were found as police searched the area around where her car was found burning, and they specifically find a foot,
Oh my God.
just a
This
random
is
foot. Yep,
fucking horrific.
it's so gruesome. And they also find quote unquote, what appeared to be human flesh.
Mm-mm.
So just a pile of flesh, I guess.
Not
Um,
good.
yeah, it's so gross. Let's
Ugh.
see. Okay. where am I going? I lost my page. Okay. It also comes out. Um, so yeah, I guess. All right. Okay. Okay. Basically, I did what I'm missing here is like the exact point in the timeline when Maxwell Anderson is arrested, but I know it's pretty quick. I was trying to like fast Google and be like, what day was this? You know,
Right.
um, he's charged by April 12th. I have that,
Oh,
so it's like that week they arrest him.
it's like quick.
Um, yeah, again because of the date, they have like
Hmm.
you know this is
Hmm.
she was with you, and then this is what we find.
Yeah.
So there's a official criminal complaint against him that details what he was charged with, and that's where we get a lot of our information because this case is so new.
Hmm.
So he's charged with tons of stuff, including first-degree homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and arson, obviously referring to the car.
Right.
And I'm not sure if this is from the official complaint. I think it might be because, again, it's got lots of information in there. That Sade had been using a location sharing app that actually had left a record sharing the location of her phone in real time with her mom and with friends who also used the app. So, like,
Smart.
even, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't have any of that activated on my phone, but now I'm kind of like, it is smart. Like, it's a little invasive, but it's also like can be very handy, right? Um,
Well, T-Mobile
and
has a. Do you have T-Mobile?
no,
I don't want to. Okay, I don't want to give them like free advertising, but they have like a family location thing that you can pay
mm,
for, and it's like,
smart.
yeah, and then you and your family members can all see where the other one is. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So anyway, so she had been sharing her location, and so they have the record of everywhere her phone anyway went, and it shows the phone going to the seafood restaurant to that date, then to a sports bar, then to Maxwell Anderson's home,
Uh-oh.
then to that park where the remains in the car were found,
Okay.
and
So
obviously her
like,
phone bits were in the car. Yeah.
so probably she was murdered at his house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So the complaint against Max here also describes additional evidence that the police have against him, in addition to the phone records and their chatting records. That includes surveillance video, which shows his car basically going through the trail you would need to get to that park, right?
Mm-hmm.
That um, to dump the remains there in the early morning hours that
Mm-hmm.
morning. So the show we have footage of him going there. We also have footage of Sade's car being driven away. So I believe he's going in. Um, yeah, so driving her car away, driving his car to drop off remains. Everywhere he goes in the vehicles, he's being followed by cameras, basically.
Right. Because fucking
Um,
obvious idiot. Like,
yeah,
the fuck. Okay.
yeah, and he left, by the way, the first time from the house 3 hours after they both came back to the house together. So whatever happened in the span of 3 hours.
Okay. I mean, that's not
Yeah,
exactly quick if it's like a
no,
horrific murder, but like
it
it's
feels
not.
kind of quick in a way.
If he fully dismembered her there, then yeah, fuck yeah, that's quick.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's presumably did happen,
What
so at some
happened?
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
At his house, they
Jesus.
find a lot of blood, which I will circle back to the blood. They also find several cans
Okay.
of gasoline,
Ugh.
um, which, yeah, duh.
Mm-hmm.
So in the criminal complaint, this is not like a riveting quote, but I'll just read it.
Mm-hmm.
The criminal complaint says, quote, the facts mentioned in this complaint, blah, 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 lead us to conclude that the defendant intentionally killed and then dismembered Robinson with the intent to conceal the homicide, which, like, duh.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred between the arrival at the defendant's residence and his departure from the Warnemont Park area. So they're kind of saying there's a possibility she was alive and he killed her. But I'm like, no, because there was dismemberment. So
Yeah, like
I
how would
don't
he
think
have done that in his car at the
he
park or
didn't
whatever?
dismember her
Like,
at the park.
no, that doesn't make any
No.
sense. No.
So he killed us, dismembered her within 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Oof.
Um, so he's pled not guilty, Max has. And
Okay.
his attorney has given very minimal statements, basically saying that he's, quote, presumed innocent. We will fight this matter vigorously in court, just generic stuff like that. They haven't really said
Yeah.
any like specific points that they have. And I'm like, oh, yeah, 'cause you look very guilty, my friend.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
ugh. Okay. I mean,
uh,
I guess we don't know what's gonna happen, but like I think we all have like a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what the fuck up is up with this Max guy here, this is like a crazy dude.
Yeah.
I found his Facebook.
Ah, I'm doing that too.
So yep, it's the one with the dog pictures. And it's spelled Anderson, Son. So if you want to look at his Facebook, you can find a little more about Max, which is really interesting.
Is it
Actually,
Maxwell
so
Anderson?
yeah,
He goes by Maxwell Anderson. Okay.
Maxwell. He worked as a bartender at a concert venue in Milwaukee called the Rave Eagles Club. He
Okay.
used to be an aviation electronics tech in the Navy.
Mm,
And uh, some of his recent posts include showing off sort of home renovations, home projects he did, like a painting a wall in his house. Interestingly, one of his more recent posts before the murder was asking his friends if they know a good sleep medication. So that's interesting. Um,
mm.
Most interesting, I think, is his passion for volunteering at Feeding America.
Yeah, I'm looking right
um,
now.
hmm
It's
uh,
crazy.
he, which is like a food bank, I imagine, kind of thing, in November, and unbelievably on April fucking 4th. So think of the timeline. He would have had to kill her the night of April 1st, right? On
Right.
April 4th, he his posts on Facebook that he's going to go volunteer at Feeding America and anyone want to join me with information about a Feeding America volunteer event.
Why did it take so long for them to catch him? Like, why is he still posting on
It wasn't
Facebook on
that
the
long. It
4th?
was like, yeah, it wasn't that long. Like I said, he
Hmm.
was fully charged by the 12th.
Okay.
So he was
Okay.
arrested fairly shortly thereafter, that week, basically.
So
Um,
fucking weird.
yeah. But like that's just a really wild contradiction to me of like you're a murderer, but like let's do charity, let's go to a food bank. It's almost like I don't know. It is almost like this sort of like reputation washing, like public image thing of like, look what a good guy I am.
But I mean, he's been posting, if you look, he posts this type of stuff.
Yeah, often.
I mean, it's not, I don't know if he did this like preemptively, like, or if it's just maybe he had some weird like break. I don't know.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
The Yeah, but the comments, by the way, on a lot of these posts are public, so you can go check them out. I love to look at comments on things. It's really horrible of me.
Yeah.
But on his post, there's a lot of lively conversation and people making very inappropriate jokes about legs and dismembered body parts, which I will not repeat.
Yeah.
Um,
That's not good.
yeah. And there's
Mm-mm.
lots of other people saying, "Oh, wait till all the info comes out. Like, don't like condemn him as guilty right away."
Right.
Interestingly, there's also people on there who say that they knew him or he's their friend and that they didn't know anything. Would never have suspected anything from him. But there's also other people who claim that they knew him and they always thought something was off, which I think is typical of like anyone arrested for something like this.
There's always going to be somebody
Um,
who like I fucking knew it, and it's like I mean people would say that
yeah,
about me, probably more than most.
yeah.
Like
I mean, compared to some other people's Facebooks that I've come across, so like the incel sword boys, this guy doesn't strike me as like, oh, you'd peg him for a fucking serial killer, like,
right, 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 right.
right away. Like it's pretty mundane stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Looking
yeah,
at it, I'm like, he's just like a dude.
he's a guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The comments on the April 4th volunteering post are like really something though. So if you want a little comment experience, I would read those. Um, people are going off and it's but like I said, it is wild the contradiction of him like
Yeah.
murdering and volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's weird to
That's
think about.
fucking bizarre. Is it like a
It is.
penance thing? Is it a split personality
Yeah,
thing? Is it like
maybe it is that's what I would think. That's what I'm thinking of. Like it's either penance or it's like a calculated like way to make himself look good
yeah, either way, fucking
too.
bizarre.
Yeah. So there's also been whiffs, no solid evidence yet, but there's been like whiffs of like maybe there's other victims because this is like a pretty wild first murder, like with dismemberment and everything. Um,
Yeah. And like
yeah.
but on the other hand, he was not careful. It was very
No,
easy to
that's
trace
also
it
true.
back to him. But I mean, on the other hand of that, look at Israel Keys. He went from nobody had any fucking clue he existed to being caught because he fucking wanted to be caught, essentially, you know? So,
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
know.
it's interesting. The other thing that I found interesting, and I haven't found any. Maybe there has. This case is like news stories come out every day, but
Hmm.
the thing I found interesting, I haven't seen a ton of follow up to, is that there's like a couple stories out there reporting that that blood evidence found in his home does not match Sade's DNA. And I'm
Okay.
like, okay, follow-up question, whose
Yeah.
blood?
Whose is
Um,
it? Who the fuck's is it? Because what the fuck?
yeah, so I'm interested in that, if that's ever gonna be brought up again.
Yeah, good question.
Um, yeah. So there's still an open GoFundMe. A couple things related to the family here to wrap up. There's still
Yeah.
an open GoFundMe called Justice for Sade, Our Fallen Angel. They've raised
Oof.
$64,000 for
Wow.
various expenses for the family. And so go check that out.
For sure.
And May 21st, so just a couple weeks ago here, Sade's mother, Sheena Scarborough, Scarborough,
Scarborough?
Scarborough. Well, it's missing the. Oh, anyway, she
Yeah.
let's say Scarborough because that sounds good.
Okay.
Sheena Scarborough came out and um, basically talked about two things. Firstly, the fact that the family is filing a series of Freedom of Information Act requests and petitions and protests and various official things after the I can't say this either. It's like Waukegan or something like that.
Waukegan. Waukegan.
Waukegan.
Mm-hmm.
Waukegan. There you go. Okay. I wasn't sure what to put the right emphasis on. Okay.
Yeah.
Waukegan. It's like emphasis on the key.
Mm-hmm.
Waukegan.
Waukegan.
Um, Waukegan Alderman Keith Turner actually posted a picture of Sade's leg to Facebook.
What the fuck?
Or no, sorry, an arm. Well, an arm that had washed up on a beach. I'm not even sure if it's her arm actually. It's implied that it was part of her remains that were found because some of them were on the beach.
Right.
And the post is obviously long since deleted. Thankfully, it's not on the
Yeah.
internet floating around. But it's kind of like when the fucking cops like posted pictures of the helicopter wreck that killed Kobe Bryant and his daughter.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
Yes.
family sued the fuck out of the police department for doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like that basically. Like Sheena, her mom is trying to officially. She said at least this guy should be fired.
Right.
Basically is her goal.
At a fucking
At
minimum.
at the bare minimum. So yeah. How she says that we want to know how this information got leaked, who leaked it, and then we want them to be held accountable. So basically, like fire the guy who posted the picture of her fucking arm. So that's like
Yeah.
one of her things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then she also came out and basically publicly pled. This is really interesting. Publicly pled with Maxwell Anderson's parents to she's to help find her daughter. She said, quote, his family should have the ability to influence him. If they are in any way, shape, or form decent human beings, they should take steps to convince him to tell the truth. Which like is heart-wrenching, but I don't necessarily know that they have that power.
Yeah, I don't know that they are able to. Yeah. I mean, I get
Yeah,
what she's asking, but I don't
yeah.
necessarily know that that's, you know, I don't know that that's going to be effective because I don't think that they necessarily have any fucking clue, you know?
No, I mean they definitely don't have a clue, but I think they yeah, to what extent they actually can influence him, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and they could just be the kind of parents too who are like, "No, he's innocent. We can't believe he would do this." Because like that's also kind of fair, I think, to have
Yeah.
that position.
It doesn't
Um,
sound like this is like the type of thing that they would be expecting to have happen. I don't know.
no,
It just seems,
mm-mm.
I mean, I get it. Like I would fucking plead with anybody, you know? Like it
Yeah,
wouldn't really
yeah.
matter to me if it was logical, but it is I don't know that that's going to do anything.
No, it's just heart wrenching, and she
It
just wants to
is.
find the rest of her daughter's body parts. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Totally fair.
Jesus Christ, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story so far. The search is actually continuing as we speak, by boat and stuff because they have not found all of her.
Ah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that's really fucking horrible. And it's got like also, thankfully, it's he's been charged and seems like he's going to be totally prosecuted for this, but
Yeah.
it does also have whiffs of Lauren Smith Fields a little bit. I guess just because there's like a extremely beautiful young black woman and like, an older white guy, and so I guess that dynamic also kind of makes me feel reminds me of that.
And it's concerning for sure. But I feel like this is more of a slam dunk. And this is like
Yes.
there's
Yes.
dismemberment. Like this is a little bit more of a like
Yeah, he's not going to get away with it.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of getting away with things, let's talk about my case.
Mm,
Um, I'm interested to see how you feel about this one because
okay.
I still don't know how I feel about it, and I've researched it. So,
Oh my gosh.
all right, here we go. Here we go. All right, I'm going to talk about Jennifer St. Clair. This is a woman. She was 33 years old in 2018. She was living in Florida in Fort Lauderdale. She actually lived at home with her parents and was working as a server in a restaurant. Now, I don't have a lot of backstory about her. I don't know if she was like, had lived away from the home, had a relationship, came home, if she'd always lived there. I have no backstory. It's really hard to find anything about it. But at this time in 2018, she is single. She has no kids, again, that I could find, and she's living at home with her parents in Fort Lauderdale. Now, Jennifer likes to party. And
Okay.
all I have to say about that is fucking get it. Like, do your thing. That's
Sure.
great. If you like to party and you don't have anything else going on and responsibilities and whatnot, like, live your fucking life, like, have a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah.
But in any case, so, you know, she's working, living, and dating. It's 2018, like I said, and Tinder is at the height of its popularity. Do people still
Mhm.
use Tinder? Do we know? Is
Oh yeah.
that a thing?
Oh yeah.
That's still a thing. Okay.
Hmm.
I wasn't sure. It's good to know.
Not
So,
being on the dating circuit.
yeah, I've never used online dating. It sounds like a nightmare, but in any case,
Yeah.
she's using it and having a great time. And this is late December or early December 2018, by the way. And she's on Tinder and she meets a man online. And this man is 34-year-old Miles McChesney. Now,
Okay.
I knew a Matt McChesney, and I can just tell you, this guy sucked. He was so fucking scummy. So when I heard the last
Mm,
name McChesney, I was immediately like,
triggering.
nope,
Yeah.
nope, bad, bad. I'm sorry if there's any listeners with that last name or if you have family with that last name, but like, tell me they're not scumbags, okay? I don't know that I'll believe you.
Mm,
So far, this
interesting.
this last name's batting 1,000 on like the scumbag, uh, whatever. Anyway, so
Mm,
they meet online, they set up a date to go out together, and this is obviously their first date. Now, weirdly, Miles doesn't even live in Florida. He's visiting from
what?
Schenectady, New York.
It's weird to
Yeah.
do dating on your own vacation.
Yeah. I might have said that wrong. It might be Schenectady. I think it's
I think it's
Schenectady.
Schenectady. Yeah.
Schenectady. I knew that and I just said it wrong. I actually know how to say Schenectady, New York. Weirdly, I'm really into like small towns in New York, like upstate and like to the west. I don't know why. I'm really into like all
Well,
of those. Like
yeah,
Poughkeepsie. And they all have weird fucking names.
they do. I lived in Ithaca, which is not a weird name, but
No, that's a cool name. But
yeah,
it's weird up there. It's very cold.
it is.
In any case, so he's visiting, but I guess Tinder isn't the app that you're trying to, get wifed up on or whatever. It's
No.
it's more for hookups. So this all kind of
Yes.
tracks, right? So anyway, he's in town visiting his cousin, and his cousin is really into motorcycles. Miles is really into motorcycles and like Harleys specifically. And
Okay.
the night that they go out, Miles picks Jennifer up on a Harley. And not only that, but he arrives with his cousin and his cousin's date and one other couple. And they're all on motorcycles. The men are driving the motorcycles, the women are on the back. So these three couples then take off on their bikes with Jennifer, on the back of Miles's bike, and they go to three local bars. He doesn't even pick her up till 10 p.m., which like just sounds terrible to me. Like that
Whoa. I
is
am asleep by
a
that time.
fucking nightmare. Yeah, absolutely
Oof.
not. But they go out and that's kind of it. You know, her parents say bye to her, they see her leave. And they didn't see her the following morning, which I think isn't like a big deal. She's 33. You know, they're not like, oh, our
Mm-hmm.
baby didn't come home. Like, so it's not like a lot of the cases where it's like a 15-year-old
Right.
girl and the family's like freaking out. But that being said, they didn't really have time to freak out because they received a call from the police pretty early in the morning. And this call, the cops call and they basically just tell them, like, hi, your daughter is dead. Like, just straight up.
Wow.
And the family's like, you know, what happened? Obviously, they want answers. And what the police tell them is basically that she was found on the highway, like on it, not on the side of the road, but like in the road. And that
Oh.
she had been hit by what we later find out is 9 different cars. Yes. And not
Oh,
only that, at the time of the accident, only one car pulled over after running her over
oh, wow.
because
That's
Florida.
horrible.
Florida.
Yeah. People and just people are horrible.
Yeah. So her parents are like, what the actual fuck? And it takes about a week, but slowly by, you know, looking at her Tinder, talking to friends, talking to the parents, they piece together that she was on a date with a man named Miles McChesney. And they learned through witness statements that basically Miles and Jennifer and their other friends had gone to these 3 different bars and had left just before 2 a.m. They were all going down the highway, presumably to like wherever Miles was staying, and Jennifer, who was drunk, fell off the back of Miles's bike. Okay.
Mm, okay.
Miles was also pretty drunk, according to witnesses, but this comes up later.
Okay.
And anyway, so witnesses say, you know, they saw a man on the night, I think it's like I-95 on a motorcycle, and he's pulled over and he's watching as Jennifer's unconscious body is repeatedly hit by cars while in the road.
I mean, that's tough though to jump into a highway to like save someone. That's kind of hard,
No,
right?
I totally get that. Witnesses say that the man didn't even try. He was just didn't even
Mm,
like dismount from his motorcycle. He was just stopped on it. And when one of
yeah.
the cars, the only car who hit her, pulled over, the man on the bike told him, quote, she's dead, and then rode off on his motorcycle.
Oh
Rode
God.
away. Miles's cousin actually pulled over and called 911, but apparently he did so because he thought Miles had been hurt because Miles had stopped when she fell off. And when he
Right.
realized that Miles was okay because Miles came riding up on the motorcycle, he told the dispatcher, he's here, never mind, and hung up the phone.
Oh my God. This
Mhm.
like group of people, this does not give a fuck about her.
No. So it took until 3 a.m. for police to arrive on the scene, at which point Jennifer had been hit by those 9 cars and was very much not alive.
Yeah.
So this guy, yes, she fell off the motorcycle, not necessarily his fault. He is almost assuredly driving way drunk, which is his fault,
Yeah.
and
This
has
should
her
at
on the
least be
back.
negligent homicide or manslaughter, right?
At
Because her
least.
death is his fault in that regard. Yeah.
At least. Also,
Yeah.
Miles here was convicted of burglary in 2007. He was sentenced to a year in prison. 5 years later, he was in a residential reentry center because he was convicted of illegal possession of a firearm. He failed to return to the halfway house and was arrested and pleaded guilty to an escape charge. So this guy, like, you know, he had actually just been released from prison for violating parole 9 days
Mm,
before this. So he got out of prison, got on Tinder, met a woman, and this happened within less than 2 weeks. So this guy's just like in and out of prison and whatever, right?
yeah.
And so as soon as this happened, he fucking bones out. So cops tried to talk to him, and I think they did interview him initially. And then he, quote, like as they put it, like just disappeared. And they don't know where the fuck he is. Later, it's, you know, he shows up in fucking Schenectady, right? But he's got a lawyer, and he's like, I'll cooperate fully. In return, I need immunity, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, he's asking this. They don't grant it because they're like, we're not even sure we want to talk to you yet. We don't know if we're going to give you immunity. Like maybe you fucking kicked her off the motorcycle. Like we don't fucking know. We're going to investigate on our own a little bit, and then we're going to decide if we even want to like offer that to you, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like around 10 a.m. the next day, he's already gone. He's got his attorney. He's declining to fucking talk unless he's given full immunity. She was dead for like 8 hours at this point, and this is already what this guy is doing. And I want to tell
Wow.
you, talking about Facebook, I went and found this guy's Facebook. This
Oh,
guy,
another
so
Facebook.
so this happened in November, or sorry, December 2018. February, uh what's the date here? Where's this disgusting picture? March 12th, he's posting like half naked pictures of chicks with tattoos in like underwear, like showing their
Oh,
crotch.
wow.
He's posting
Okay.
like thirst trap photos showing his proud Irish heritage with him like
Mhm.
covered in fucking tattoos. And he has another Facebook. So he has two Facebooks. The other Facebook on February 1st, 2019. So less than 2 months after this happens, he's posting a selfie of himself in a hoodie with his like giving the camera the middle finger. And he's
Oh
like
my God.
covered in like shitty prison tattoos. He's smiling. This guy doesn't give a fuck that this woman died. He
Wow.
could not be less
Wow.
bothered. Like unfucking
Incredible.
believable. Like truly
Wow.
just nuts. Like, this guy is such a fucking piece of shit. So anyway, about a week after the incident, they know who he is. The family actually sues him for wrongful death. I cannot
Hmm.
find what happened there. I cannot find what happened there. But what I can tell you is that it took until 2020 for police to decide not to charge him with anything. Nothing. He's off scot-free for this. And some of the reasoning is that nobody witnessed what happened when she fell off the motorcycle. Because he left the scene of the crime, they couldn't test his blood alcohol to prove that he was drunk. And I actually had an incident where we were in Beverly Hills and this drunk rich lady in her like Range Rover backed into our car, stumbled out of our car and was like, "You guys are so messed up," and then drove off down Sunset, like swerving. We got her license plate. We followed her home. We called the cops, and they're like, "We can't do anything because she went inside her house. She might have gone inside and chugged a bottle of wine. So even if we like test her now, there's no proof that she was driving drunk." They refused to do anything,
Wow.
even though we had like damage to our car. Cops also love to do nothing, so fuck them. But the point of what I'm saying is that because they didn't test him for, if he was drunk that night, there's no proof that he did literally anything wrong. The only thing they could have charged him with was like leaving the scene. But even that, I think they just found was kind of like, I don't know, not worth it, I guess. I don't know. So, all of this is to say that this poor woman fucking fell off the back of a bike, got run over repeatedly, and was left dead in the road for an entire hour before she was, picked up by police. And the man who, essentially, in my mind, was pretty fucking responsible for this just got to go home and post shitty thirst trap
Wow.
pictures of his white trash ass online.
Wow. That's crazy. And like, yeah, it's very clear how this is should be charged with negligent homicide. Like
At
because
least, or leaving the
if
scene,
you're
something.
driving drunk and your actions of driving drunk basically result in your passengers or anyone else dying, you get charged. So why isn't he
Right.
getting charged for
Why
that?
isn't he getting charged for fucking anything? Anything. I think there's a couple of things about this. I think the first thing, like I said, they can't prove he was drunk. They didn't see what happened, and they can prove that she was drunk. So it would be very easy for his lawyers to be like, she was wasted, she fell, like it's not his fault. I mean, I feel like they've decided that it's not worth the cost of the trial for what they could honestly get him for. And I don't, as much as I hate it, I feel like that's probably true. But to me, what that means is that our system is fucked up. Also,
Yeah.
if he wasn't a fucking white dude, I think they would take the risk,
Right,
to be
right, for
honest.
sure.
So yeah, that's the fucking case. Isn't that nuts?
That is horrible. And it
It's
reminds me
fucked up.
also of one of the original first dates I did, that I also did a bunch of TikToks about Jesslyn
Mhm.
Zuniga, where she was like, remember she was
Mhm.
thrown out of the car on her first date
Yeah.
experience as well, and like found kind of like off the road and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't think anything ever came of that, of like charges with the driver, the date. But it's also like you can't just have someone in your car like flung out of the car and then you just like, oh. okay, like, and you just go on with your day. Like, you have to like stop and give a shit and like try to show that you're trying to care about this person.
Right, right.
Like,
It's really interesting how they're just like, well, they left the scene of the crime, but we're just gonna pretend they didn't and like do nothing.
yeah, it's the
It
same as
blows my
like a
mind.
hit and run. It's the same as a hit and run.
Yeah, exactly. It's so fucking weird to me. But anyway, all right, there's the first half.
Hmm.
Fucked up. Thanks, guys. Let us know how you feel about that one. I'm interested because I feel like the guy should be charged. Like, obviously, and this guy's just such a piece of shit. Like, all you have to do is look at his like social online profiles and like,
Yeah.
oh, holy shit. And his fucking arrest record. Like, come on.
Yeah. Also, speaking of pieces of shit, I want to make an addendum to my first case.
Yeah.
A small addendum because when I was googling it right at the end there, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, because I was trying to find the date he was arrested
Mm-hmm.
for the for Maxwell Anderson.
Yeah.
I found one fucking link that I hadn't seen that was like, oh, actually, he's been arrested like a bunch of times for domestic abuse and violence and battery and fights. So I don't want to be accused of like, being like that person who's like this upstanding white gentleman. We could never
Yeah.
imagine him doing anything wrong. I'm like, okay, no. This actually shouldn't be surprising because he was arrested for violent crimes. So
He's one of those fucking guys that like goes to women's marches and then like beats women, but he's like
yeah,
outwardly trying to like gain brownie points. Ew, fuck him. Those are
yeah.
the worst kind of people. Fuck that guy.
No, I think I clocked his volunteering shit correctly. I think he's just like a reputation washing like thing where
Yeah.
he's like trying to look good.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I hate how easily fooled people are with shit like that. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
called that out. All right, anyway, guys, we'll be back with part two soon. Thanks for listening. Please like, rate, review, tell your friends and family. And until part two of this horrific uh topic,
Say,
off our
let's
list.
go.
Bye.